This is the second Parliament that I have debated this agreement in. Over 2 years ago, the European Parliament passed this free trade agreement against my opposition, but also against the opposition, it should be noted, of all of the Labour Party MEPs who voted against the agreement. Those who voted in favour, in particular other Social Democrats, they did so with the fig leaf of a roadmap and an action plan on human rights. They did so with a non-binding Article 2 of the agreement with reference to human rights. They did so saying that the situation would improve, that a free trade agreement would rise all boats, and that the values of human rights and so on would spread, and that it would benefit trade unionists and others in Colombia. We don't have to speculate anymore about will that happen or will it not happen. We have the evidence, because the time has passed. And the evidence clearly says that that has not happened. The human rights situation has not improved in Colombia. The FTA, which is being provisionally implemented, has bolstered a government which continues to stand over human rights abuses. We know that in August 2013, at least 9 striking activists were murdered by the police and army during protests against free trade agreements with the US and Canada. And the UN denounced unfounded accusations made by the Colombian government that armed groups were behind the protest. We know that Colombia remains the most dangerous place on earth for trade unionists. We know that over 100 human rights defenders and trade unionists have been killed since the implementation of the agreement. We know that there's still massive displacement of indigenous people, particularly by extractive industries. We know that justice is an extremely rare commodity in Colombia, with impunity rates still of over 90% after a legacy of conflict. We can read the evidence of former police chief Santoyo in the courts in the US, who has been convicted of assisting the paramilitary organizations, where he testified that he helped the Colombian death squads to identify victims to be killed and to escape without getting caught. He was the head of the police for President Uribe at the time that they negotiated this deal with the European Commission. Every trade union confederation that has a connection to this issue has campaigned strongly against it. The Colombian CUT, the International ITUC, the European ETUC, the Irish ICTU. And we have a chance here. And it's because it's been identified as a mixed agreement by the EU. That's why we have a vote in this Parliament. If it was a regular international trade agreement, we wouldn't even have a vote. But because we have a vote, this Parliament and every other Parliament in the EU has the ability to stop this, to send a very powerful message. And so if the Labour Party took the same position that they did in the European Parliament, they'd come in today, they'd vote against this agreement, and that would be a powerful signal. Because it's a choice. Do we put human rights and workers' rights first, or do we put the profits of big business first?
Thank you, Deputy. I now